Good afternoon. This is SMA Colonel Fout. I'd like to welcome you to Coffee with the Colonel, although at this time of day it's water with the Colonel. Today is November 13th, Friday the 13th, 2020. Kind of an auspicious and frightening thought to have a Friday the 13th in the middle of this crazy year. Today is also World Kindness Day, and I'm actually glad that it is a proclaimed World Kindness Day, and it gives me a little focus to think about everything that's been going on with our lives here recently, and to relate it to, what do we do about that, right? So when I think about World Kindness Day, especially here in our setting at the school, we've had a strong focus here for a couple of years now on what's called social emotional learning. And that's social emotional learning is thinking about all of the things that kids are dealing with over and above their academic expectations, over and above their behavioral expectations here on our campus. For example, I've worked in some pretty challenging areas at times, and I've come across kids in those challenging areas, but also here that are quite honestly, as we refer to it in our business, carrying a lot of extra stuff in their backpacks. By that I mean they're dealing with some very difficult topics as a adolescent, sometimes even younger. Topics like suicide, topics like drug abuse or alcohol abuse in the family, topics like other types of abuses, sexual, physical, emotional abuse. We have children who are carrying those things around in their backpacks. Quite honestly, this week was also, we were blessed with a remembrance for Veterans Day. And when I think of my status as a veteran, and when I think of some of the things that I've gone through, and I think of things that many of my comrades have gone through, and it brings to mind, once again, suicide. It also brings to mind the topic of PTSD. We don't talk about PTSD enough. And many times when we do talk about it, we only talk about it as, those veteran guys who've been through a lot. Think about your kids who have experienced some very traumatic experiences. And I mean, the name is post-traumatic disorder, right? Syndrome. It's that's just another thing in their backpacks, because those traumas don't necessarily go away. And when we think about everything we've been going on since March of this year, we've got a whole new set of trauma that's happening, right? With separation anxieties, concerns about your family and your loved ones. Are they going to catch this thing? Are they going to be okay? Anxieties about our economic status right now. We have a lot of us are struggling to keep food on the table. Are we going to get evicted next month? My mom can't afford yada yada yada. How can I ask her to get me an SMA shirt or buy a wreath for our veterans? When we start thinking about things like that, when we start thinking about it in that sense, that we don't know if the person to our left and our right has anything extra in their backpack. We don't know. And many times we have heard the old saying, Don't judge until you've walked a mile in their shoes. In reality, we can't walk a mile in anybody's shoes. We can't even put anybody else's shoes on. We will never really understand that. And I think that's why we need to have a day like World Kindness Day. That's why we need to think about, we need to take a day and just, well, what can I do? I can't know what this person is going through, but honestly, it doesn't matter what they're going through, because you can be kind, right? You can give a simple compliment, hold the door for somebody. If they drop something, pick it up. Just tell them, hey, you look great today, or I'm glad to see you, right? Simple things like that might, at least for a moment, bring a little relief and joy to somebody's life. And especially with everything we're going all through in our society, when we're with all the societal challenges of, it seems like there's a lot of divisiveness. There's a lot of division. There's a lot of, well, I believe this and you don't believe what I believe, so you're wrong kind of thing. Regardless of what your political affiliations are, what your beliefs are, we're still humans. And we should treat everybody, we preach this here and we try to live it here at SMA, treat everybody with respect. Well, we need to treat everyone with kindness as well. That is the true human nature, and that's what we should aspire to be like, right? We are kind of a broken society right now. Well, with the pandemic, with the societal unrest, with the movements in different directions or whatever, and they're very in their face and so forth, whether it be BLM or whether it be defund the police, any of these concepts, the concepts are important to talk about. However, the way we talk about it and the fact that we don't fully listen to each other is where the conflict comes in. And that's another little piece of trauma to stick in all of our backpacks. That on top of the whole COVID situation, we have spiking numbers across the nation. We have school districts now that are being shut down by their states because of the numbers. They've got states imposing lockdowns again and curfews and so forth. And I get it, because we need to try and get a hold of this situation if we're ever going to move on. However, we have to remember that all of this is just more adding to our backpack. And when I think about our kids here on campus, they don't need anything more in their backpack. And I get that. I don't have an answer for that. I wish I did. I guess the only answer I can say is we need to have World Kindness Day every day. We need to take a moment every day to be thankful for each other. We need to take a moment every day to support each other, regardless of our differences, regardless of what happened yesterday or what we think is going to happen tomorrow. As I was watching the Veterans Day video that one of our cadets put together with the assistance of his leadership team and Command Sergeant Major, I felt kind of blessed when I saw the whole part about the Navajo Code Talker. As many of you know, my last job, I was a principal of a school on the Navajo reservation. And it helped me remember, watching that video yesterday, helped me remember how full I felt as a human on Veterans Day there at Shanto Elementary School, when we would pack our gym with community members and all the veterans that would just come out of the woodwork. And I have to tell you, if there is a group of people that embodies the selfless service spirit, it is the Navajo people. And I want to thank them. While I'm thinking of it, I want to thank them for their service to our country. They have certainly gone over and above and continue to do so. They have a very high rate of military service amongst all the demographics in our country. They're probably the highest, and I was pleased to be a part of that family for a few short years and to stand next to those Navajo veterans and call them brother and sister, and be called the same by them. And when I think of that, and I think of service to each other, and I think of World Kindness Day, it all comes together. That this is, when we talk about selfless service, it's not just to your country, it's to each other, right? And that's what World Kindness Day is. That's what service is. That's what brotherhood is. And we all still share that. And it doesn't matter if we are white or black, brown, if we are of a different nationality, if we speak a different language, if we come from another country, it does not matter. That kindness does not stay within a culture. Kindness does not stay within a country's boundaries. Kindness should be everywhere. It is something transcendent that is between humans. And we hold that in common and should remember that. And as we go into this weekend, and I think about tomorrow, as many of you may know, I'm a graduate of Marshall University. Tomorrow is the 50th anniversary of the tragic plane crash that killed the entire football team, coaches, staff, support people, as well as many members of that Huntington, West Virginia community. It destroyed that community. Absolutely destroyed it. And I'll tell you what, it was not, that community did not recover for a long time, but they did recover. And that is the human spirit. They pulled together. They helped each other. They lifted each other up. They remember every year what they went through. And they don't celebrate the deaths. They celebrate the fact that they were able to come together and say that we can live this too. We can live through, but we will remember it. So on this World Kindness Day, and a week following Veterans Day, and before a day commemorating such a tragic accident that really had such a traumatic effect on an entire community, I can only think that this year, 2020, is just our traumatic event, that we need to grab each other's hands and say, this too shall pass, and we shall overcome. And we will do it by being good humans. We will do it with kindness. We will do it with respect, integrity, and honor for all of those around us. Kind of a deep subject today, and I do want to thank you for taking the time to listen to me. Something I've been struggling with a lot, especially with all the divisiveness within our country and fights over whether this is real or it's not real or whatever. The fact is we have a challenge that we can overcome together. And the basis for our success should be in our kindness to each other. And once again, back to our SMA foundation, our respect, our integrity, and our honor for each other, that we can do this together. Thank you for taking some time to listen to me today. I ask you to please think about this, talk about it with your family, talk about it with your kids. We can make a difference. We can do this together. Have a beautiful weekend, and I will see you on Monday.